That's where my most value has been, is I've become really good at helping people fill some of these gaps in mobility that maybe they've lost or that now hurt, and they want to figure out how to get that back.
I am Judd Lienhard, former Army Ranger, college linebacker. I've been a strength and performance coach for over 15 years. Let's get into it.
Ben Patrick, better known as Knees Over Toes Guy.
I don't like social media, but I'm going to go on it. And I don't care how many followers. If I do one thing, I'm going to try to help dispel that myth. If I educate well enough, then if someone tries to attack me, it's going to actually make people go get educated on my page better. Exercise in the real world has been around way longer than exercise in academia. And knee over toe training goes back thousands of years. I do nothing for recovery. I don't take any supplements. If you invented the best joint supplement in the world, I should be the last guy to take it, because I want to see what I can accomplish from these exercises I'm teaching. If I do the 80% basics really well, that gives me a better quality of life. What if I never set a PR the rest of my life on any exercise? I could live with that and be extremely happy. The fact that we're here positively sharing similar and different ways of accomplishing different means with respect for each other, to me, that's the future. We're actually going to beat the hate and actually influence fitness.
All right, so big day for me personally. I have a chance to sit down with Ben Patrick, better known as Knees Over Toes Guy. On a personal level, long before I was on Instagram, you were a big influence on me, and I dare say a great influence on the fitness community, primarily with the taboo of never letting your knees go past your toes. That was pervasive, quote unquote, common knowledge for a long time in our fitness industry, to its detriment. And you were, in my opinion, one of, if not the primary people that helped dispel that myth and push back against it, and really improved fitness, quality of life, and athletic ability for maybe a generation of people. So there's a lot we can talk about today.
Yep. I
want to keep it as beneficial to people as possible, but I just got to work out with you for an hour down there and demonstrate exercises for YouTube, and I learned a lot. We have a lot of beliefs in common, and I'll kind of let you guide the conversation to some extent, feeling on what you feel like you should talk about. But
yeah, I appreciate that. I'm honored to be here, for you to welcome me in, because the influencer world can be tense. And so to have someone to treat me like such a friend, to recognize the common purpose, I absolutely love your work, and you're doing so much good for movement freedom. And so I was so stoked to see that you're not only not having animosity toward me, but so friendly. I'm this is amazing. I have to come meet this guy. And so, yeah, I'm honored to be here. Maybe we start there with movement freedom, and maybe what got you to go on social media. For me, it was no knees over toes. I did believe that. Didn't work out for me. Knee surgery, painkillers, still no knees over toes. Saw articles on T Nation. You remember that site,
yeah.
T Nation? Articles by Charles Poliquin talking about knee over toe and full range of motion for the leg. And maybe it's more so prevalent in the basketball world, but this was always told no to me. And just by experimenting with it, eventually meeting and studying with him.
You got to meet and study with Charles Poliquin?
Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yep. Shortly before he passed. That's amazing. Actually, my wife went and studied with him first, because his stuff worked so well that I was playing college basketball on a full scholarship, and my wife wasn't in college. So the dates didn't line up. I was playing basketball. So she went. She wasn't a trainer, but it was hey, Poliquin's going to be in the USA doing a seminar. She went.
That's amazing.
And then later I went after college. And yeah, strengthening the knee over the toe, strengthened my knee up enough that then basketball wasn't hurting. And I kept doing that. And at 20 years old, self-marketed myself to a full ride to a JUCO. And then by a couple years later, I'm getting full ride scholarships, Division I, Division II. But any school I was visiting, I was being told, well, you're not going to be able to do your knees over toe stuff. Because the strength coach, he would chat, and it's look, this is what worked for me. That's what got me here on a scholarship.
Insane that that wasn't that long. What year time frame was that?
2013, 14, somewhere in there.
So less than 20 years ago, strength coaches at Division I universities, considered our brightest minds. If you're a head strength coach to Division I university for performance enhancement, we're still saying no knees over toes at that time.
Yeah, and then I started training kids that summer while I was in between JUCO and going to go to a 4-year. And then since I had only started JUCO multiple years out of high school, because I was just sidelined with injuries.
Yeah.
I was already 5 years out of high school by that point, And so the NCAA denied my eligibility for Division I. And so I was left with, so it's like, okay, for Division I, I can get a lawyer, try to fight it. Division II, there was no issues. They had different rules. But I was like, the moment that it came out of nowhere, we didn't know any of that. I was like, I got to be training people. Like I wanted to be, and some of these D2 coaches were like, man, you're going to regret this the rest of your life. Like not playing, you can do like full scholarship, started training people, made a gym, years going by, getting amazing results, getting kids like me, unrecruited scholarships. Sometimes I remember this one kid coming back and he was like, coach, I don't know what to do. Like the strength coach was berating me for squatting below parallel and like in front of the team, just like berating him. And then other guys, basketball guys with knee surgery history who use some of the more regressed exercises and being told like, you can't do that here. And it's like, they're on a scholarship largely because of that. I had no chance of a scholarship with my knees. Couldn't even play. Like it was because of that I could play. So that was just my experience. And then enough of that and friends telling me, look, man, this is working so well. And I'm on social media and no one's talking about these regressions and stuff. And like you got, like, it was almost like guilting me into like, oh, I got to actually like share these regressions. And then Charles Poliquin passed away. And then I'm like, cause I always assumed that he would like handle that no knees over toes thing.
Yeah, he just had so many different focuses that.
Yeah, and I was like, and it's easier to be like, all right, someone else can be responsible for it. I can just have my little gym, happy, not on social media. Like I was very happy not on social media.
And I feel like a lot of the guys like Charles Poliquin, like obviously with Olympic weightlifting, the knees go past the toes, and there's some internal rotation that people think are valgus claps, all that. They're just so far, but they don't really care what the general public thinks. That's not their focus. They know it's nonsense, but they never take that knowledge of not only is it okay to let your knees go past your toes, it's essential for performance and health. Yeah. And they never are driven to like pass that to the general public. Yeah. There's nothing to bridge that gap, Yeah.
And I'll fire back questions at you, but those, if someone hasn't heard me on a podcast or whatever, they can probably see why then when I was like, all right, I'll go on. I don't like social media, but I'm going to go on it. They can probably see why I made my name knees over toes guy. I was like, if I do one thing, I don't care how many followers, if I do one thing, I'm going to try to like help dispel that myth.
It's not as controversial anymore. And like we talked about, I think it's largely due to you, the knees over toes. It's not as controversial. But if we were having this podcast 10 years ago, I'm sure there would be a lot of controversy. Now it's more so, do you need to do full range of motion, or what's the most appropriate range of motion, blah, blah, blah. But
this is a great point about range of motion. And I made the decision once like you said, once we've kind of gotten through just the needless attacks of knees over toe. Cause when I started posting stuff, oh my gosh.
Dude, yeah.
But what's interesting is the hate blew it up. Because those algorithms respond to these comments and argument. And I would calmly never call anyone a name. Never, if top
still working on that person.
Yeah. If leading trainers made videos just trying to, because anyone can make a video to make someone look bad. That's politics. You can make it. If you're intelligent, I could make myself look bad.
Yes.
Depending on,
you can form an argument about against anything. Yeah.
Even if
people don't understand all the logical fallacies people employ, personal attacks and ad hominem attacks, things like that.
Yeah.
Straw man arguments.
Yeah. I never made anything to retaliate back. Kept trying to educate better. My viewpoint was if I educate well enough, then if someone tries to attack me, it's going to actually make people go get educated on my page better. And this is what occurred. And so I actually get way less attacks now than I used to. But I didn't argue back. And there's a lot of other freedom fighters out there like you. They see you. Now, they're going to be a lot less likely to attack me. Now they're seeing another point of view. They're seeing someone do it. But I did make a decision once kind of getting through the massive hate that I'm never going to turn it around the other way. I'm never going to hate on someone or tell if I'm training someone like we showed in the video today. I'm not forcing them to certain ranges. Here's how we're going to train. Now find the range that feels good and natural for you and let that take care of itself. That's honestly my approach. So I'm not even forcing or telling someone, push your knee over your toe, go all the way down. I'm getting into these positions, and someone can and should go watch the video we did together. I personally believe that video with the two of us has some of the most actual real world value of anything on YouTube. that someone could take that video and make a career. If you're a coach, you could take that video and make a career.
I think we're going to probably try to release these simultaneously.
Yeah.
So once this is out, hopefully that will be out as well, and people can click on it and watch more in-depth demonstrations of what we're talking about here.
Yep. And so throwing some questions your way, the number one reason you've been successful is because you're incredibly competent at what you do. Now, throwing yourself into social media, like here's a out of left field question. Are you happier now than before social media?
In certain aspects, yes. So it's complicated. And a lot of happiness is like how you view your situation too, you know? Like you can't always depend on external stuff for your happiness, right? And I acknowledge that. No, because I'm not coaching as much.
Yeah.
And like we both love to coach.
Yeah.
And just the nature of things, I'm not able to coach kids directly as often. I have one tonight that I get to coach that I'm so grateful for. Still trying to hang on to a couple.
Yeah.
But I miss coaching a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm more happy because the freedom it's allowed me to be with my son. So I just went through a divorce and I didn't mean to blow up on social media. I just had a reel that went viral and just it was an opportunity. I wasn't going to get to see my son because of the nature of my schedule. I work nights and weekends. And so it was more out of desperation. It's like, I have to pursue this. And I just expected to get enough following to supplement my income. So maybe I wouldn't have to work one night a week or weekends, right? So I had a number in my mind. Well, I need $3,000 a month to do that, right? So that was like my goal. So I never expected this to happen. It's a little bit of a feeling of isolation. It's weird for people.
But well done. I mean, because number one is your son.
Number one's my son. Yeah.
Well
so
done.
like sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to quit this and go back to coaching, right? Because like I don't do well with trolls and negative comments sometimes, and the feeling of isolation. People do treat you different. It's weird.
You're changing lives now, so you have a duty.
Well, I mean, it's like you can either change 1 million lives or you can change 10 lives through coaching profoundly. So I'm always like, it's a trade-off. Both have value. I can either change 1 million lives a little bit, because honestly, and the comments I get do build me up in that regard. Or you can look a kid in the eye and profoundly change one life. So it's really like pick the thing you love to do. But my son was on summer break, and I'm like, I'm just gonna quit Instagram, go out to coaching. Like, come on, man. And I was like, well, I just spent 14 days in a row with my son, and like slept in with him some nights. Went on a 8-day vacation. I hadn't been on an 8-day vacation in 20 years. I'm like, went on an 8-day vacation, spent every single day with my son. I probably had to work 3 hours a day right next to him, just on my phone. I make my reel, I do my thing. And I'm like, I'm not going to quit this because it's buying me time with my son. I have ultimate freedom now, you know? Like, and the days I want to work 16 hours, I'll work 16 hours,
You're doing the right thing. And I believe in a close to home approach, meaning your son matters the most.
Absolutely.
And so having a profound impact on him. And then I would say, this is nitty gritty stuff that I haven't seen on any podcasts and stuff, is discussing like we're on social media, improving a lot of lives quite a bit. But there's another level of helping someone in person, of mentoring a young athlete, changing the rest of their life.
You can't describe it unless you've done it.
It's special, man. So I have found I did the same thing. My kids are 3 and 4. My wife was pregnant when my stuff first started getting a lot of traction. And so I was like, I kind of panicked, shut my gym down. It was COVID. So it's like the government was already shutting it down. I was training guys that they need it for their career. I was training guys I shouldn't have been. Yeah. It was in Florida. I can't get in trouble now, can I? But like it shifted everything with my wife pregnant, made mistakes, burned friendships. I wish I could have handled it all better, but I ultimately made that choice to like put my kids first. And so, my intent has mostly been to put the best educational content I can out there while being the best dad I can be. And I'm so proud of what I've done as a dad, but I have found more of a sweet spot now where, because of the success on social media, I'm able to volunteer at a school I really like. I know the people, they were already like working on some of my stuff. So the athletic directors, like,
and they know you as a coach, not an influencer. Right?
Yeah. The athletic.
I love when I go back and the kids still call me coach, and I'm just Coach Judd to them, and they could care less. And I love it. And it's just, I get a lot of anxiety. I had social anxiety anyway, but like, people don't recognize me all the time, but you just never know when they will. And they come up to you, rant, and that's sweet. And I appreciate it. Yep. Sometimes my son is with me and he doesn't understand what's going on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Cause he has no clue what I do. He knows I make videos for money, which is kind of weird. Yeah. I mean, that's it. And I was like, hey, I got to do some work real quick and I'll make my reel, or I'll work on my fitness app or whatever it is, and then go back to him. That's all he knows.
Yeah.
And it's just, so there's a downside to everything, especially if you don't like people knowing who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But you're doing it right. You're putting your son first.
Yeah.
And then I would encourage any successful influencer to, put your family first, but then also recognize the stuff that sets your heart on fire and figure out a way to integrate that into your life, even if it's once a week or twice a week or whatever, but like keeping some of that real world working with people in some way. And then I found that's a sweet spot. So like, I feel like I actually felt worse after a while on social media, but I knew I was doing the right thing for my kid. Like I felt good about that.
Yeah.
But like you said, something's better, something's worse.
Yeah.
Now that I've gotten through it, didn't let the hate get me down, and then have now recognized, okay, I can balance up my life, stay coaching some people in real life for free for the love of the game.
Yeah.
While raising my kids, still put content that's like feels like educational content I really feel a duty to put out, but not be like hustling for views. Like I found my sweet spot now. Who knows when we catch up in a couple of years, but I would say, I would admit I felt worse, and then now I feel
kind of
better.
same. I went through a transitionary period where it really was kind of difficult to manage the balance there and stay positive and not let it get you down. Like, and people don't get it. They have this view of what influencers are, and most of the ones I've met are the most genuine, kindest people.
And receive so much. Let's break down the hate thing. The way I would explain it is like, even if you had like 100 nice comments, if one person says something really nasty, like if you're walking down the street and 99 people are like, hey, how's it going? Hey, and then one person throws a rock at you, like you're not going to want to go down that street.
That's true, man.
It's too much volume. It's
people that haven't had to deal with it, they just don't know.
Yeah.
And they don't understand what it's like to have, you'll have 10,000 good comments, like you said, 50 bad comments a day. Just imagine 50 people saying the worst things imaginable about you that don't know you. And that's the thing. The hardest thing about the comments is, good or bad, people don't know me. So they say these outlandishly good things about me. And I'm like, well, you don't know me. Like, I'm not the greatest thing since sliced bread. I have a messy truck and pick my nose. Well, whatever, and I have definitely huge flaws as a human being. And you don't know me. So you're putting me on this pedestal I don't deserve to be on. And then conversely, people saying the most atrocious things about me, and they don't know me either. It's really hard. It's a weird... It's almost like I'm truly doing it for other people, because if it was up to me, I would definitely get off social media. Yeah. It gives you a skewed version of like what people are like, because most people aren't like that. But the people that comment nasty things, they stand out. 10,000 people they would never say anything mean to anybody in the comments,
In person, anyone say anything nasty to you?
I've never once ever had anybody say anything remotely rude to me in person.
Same with me.
And I don't think it's because like I'm a bigger guy and people are physically afraid of me, because I think people know, like, I'm not going to be able to assault you legally. Like, you're not going to be hurt. But I just think people have this feeling inside, like it's just rude to say things to people. And then in person, they just don't say rude things to people, especially when they don't have an audience. I think most of it has to do with they have a chance to have an audience. And I think a lot of it has to do with the people that make the rude comments are lonely and they want people to like their rude comment. Yep. So, exactly. Because very rarely will somebody go in the DMs and say rude things to me. It's usually in the comments, right? And that's the chance. If you really want to DM me and say rude things, that's your chance to do it. Yep. And just like on the street, like, somebody is going to yell something rude at you, they're going to yell it at you around a group of their friends. They're not going to, if they see you one-on-one, say something rude to you. Yeah. So I think a lot of it just stems back to they don't have good feelings about themselves, and they're looking for approval from others. And whenever I remember that, it makes me give people some grace, even though in the comments I go back at them. But a lot of that is just like, I
don't judge you for it.
But I'm like, you say some weird shit to me. I'm like, all right, listen.
Honestly, I could tell that, like, my mom was not going to think well of me being negative at all. Like, both my parents are not big on, like, excuses and how to treat other people. And they didn't grow up in this social media age. So even if it's the norm, they don't know social media. And like, I almost went like negative one time, like 5 years ago. And it's just like burning in my mind. Like my parents are not going to respect this. Yeah. And so I just made the decision, hey, maybe I can succeed without saying a negative thing to anyone ever. Just focus. And
My thing is like what I'm saying is helping people, and I know it is. If I didn't believe that it was, I wouldn't be doing it, right?
Yeah.
And when you make allegations that I'm only doing it to sell my app or I'm only fit because of steroids, and I've never once denied that I take testosterone or that it plays into how big my muscles are or anything like that. But if you're saying I'm only athletic because I take testosterone, then either you're going to encourage people to turn first towards steroids, which is irresponsible and ineffective, or you're going to make people believe that they can never achieve any kind of muscular size or athleticism because they don't take steroids. Or, the exercises I do, I really feel like they can help people. And if you're saying that they're worthless, then I have to feel like I have to battle that, at least not battle that person's perception, but other people's perceptions that no, this exercise is not worthless. I believe in it and it has helped me. This is my testimonial. So, there's that balance in my mind. And plus I like to have fun with people.
I'm not judging you because I get a kick out of seeing you respond. Like I would be a hip if I'm
people think that I'm
I'll
stewing and I'm just like, I'll be with my son and I'll just make a comment and go back to him. And it's like, I'll make this, like, it doesn't bother me really.
Yeah.
And,
but it's something that like, I don't know if I'm doing it the right way or you're doing it the right way. Ultimately you gotta follow your heart on it. But the sad thing is that for the next generation, they're not growing up the way we did without social media, where we can see that this is not real life. And I feel like the next generation, they almost like think that this is real life. Mm-hmm. Like how social media operates has become like we grew up completely without social media. Mm-hmm. So now imagine growing up with social media where you don't know what life is like without it. Mm-hmm. I feel like they're going to have such a skewed perception of
they already do, man. And it's everything that's good comes with bad things. The internet should have been the greatest invention in the world, and we use it for things like porn. And
I
know. Social media, it should be a great thing. It's an easy, and it is a great thing in a lot of ways. I would not have had access to you without social media.
Someone gets to learn.
Yeah, an easy way to learn.
25 plus years or like.
And it's not all bullshit. It's not a complete waste. You have to be able to intelligently discern information, like with anything else. Mm-hmm. But also, there's just a lot of like comparison these kids have with other people now, and people looking at bodies that are just unattainable, and whether it's anabolics or cosmetic surgery or great genetics, a lot of these influencers, it's not healthy for young kids to compare themselves to it.
Yeah, I think for my kids, if they are adults and want to own a business, I'd have to. Like if I'm just looking ahead, that's when I would probably teach them how to use social media. And I think it would be better first to learn a real world work ethic, build real friends, build your real fitness, build your skills for survival, learn trade skills, learn like really like build.
They want a personal brand without a knowledge base, or I'm like, a brand about what? What do you have to offer people? It's just because you have a six pack?
Yeah.
Like, what's your brand? Yeah. And I've never heard the word personal brand until recently, and I hear kids say personal brand. I'm like, what are you talking about? Go get a job.
Yeah. It's if you're building value in the real world, that then you have to share that value. That's where I see the value in social media is that piece of tech going to enhance your real life? And so
all the most valuable people on social media lived in the real world for decades. They were coaches for years. They saw people one-on-one and they learned real human interaction and what is really valuable. And they're using that media to tell people on there what's really valuable.
Yeah.
Young people that have never grew up in the real world, they don't really know how to convey value to people. Like, it's cool. I love social media. I love going on there and seeing people do really cool stuff. But as far as the valuable information we get, it's always older people that have been there and done it. Yeah.
I could see myself getting to a point where I'm not even on social media, but once a week I still because ideas come up that I feel a duty to share, but not to actually use the app. And I would say I've used as a user, I've used social media less and less and less and less, to the point where I would be happier not being on social media. However, I've been able to help people with social media and support my family with it. So it's part of the process.
It's like anything else in life. It is honestly what you make of it. If you use the internet for certain things, if you use social media for certain things, if you use drugs for certain things, it really is what you make of it. Everything can be very valuable or very harmful.
Good point.
Yeah, man. I mean, it just, people, they get a skewed version of reality and lose context because it is impossible to convey information that's contextual in nature, because you can only hold people's attention for so long, and you get rewarded for black and white, us versus them, right versus wrong statements that cause controversy.
Yeah.
And the things I believe in are controversial enough. I don't need to try to create controversy. Just like you didn't need to try.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to convey all the shades of gray and all the and ifs and buts on social media, and you don't get rewarded for gray statements.
Yeah.
Or for like, hey, let's have a polite discussion.
Yeah, and if you answer all the questions that someone could have, you're going to get less arguments in the comments.
Yeah.
So that's why. So for someone who is on social media, not that this is the right way, probably less growth, but maybe more meaningful real world impacts. I don't look at the views. I look at how much relative to those views, how much are people sharing this to someone else?
Yeah.
So that's different than I don't want any arguments in the comments. Mm-hmm. I don't want any. So I'm trying to make content to handle all those contextual points and answers that guarantees or shuts down, the chances of arguments in the comments. So I have less chance of like.
When I first got on social media, I was kind of shocked what people would argue over. Like I would post something, I'm like, there's no way anybody can argue over them. I'm not being controversial.
Stunning.
And it's like, man, people find a way to nitpick and argue and criticize everything. Yeah. It's like they're driven by this need to criticize and argue. And I'm just like, whoa, like I wasn't ready for that. You know what I mean? Like I post this thing honoring veterans and then it's like baby killer. I'm like, whoa, like, okay.
No, it's if someone's goal is to insult you, and more specifically, they're trying to drag us down. So if someone's goal is to drag us down and they've got a bit of intelligence, pretty easy. Like, like we aren't looking at life through that lens. So then it's such a surprise when we see, wait, people are like, so yeah, my content now answers some of these questions. I didn't even know that someone, and I think they know what they're doing. I don't think they're often dumb enough to actually think what they're saying.
Yeah,
it's like
sometimes I wonder, man. I mean, that's a good question. Sometimes I do think they know what they're doing. Sometimes I think they genuinely believe these things, and it makes them angry when people believe things otherwise. You know what I mean?
What we're doing is good here, though.
Yeah,
we met up today. We are competitors. We could be like either of us could get more views by trying to make a takedown video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of the other
that's
person.
Really true. Yeah.
Is that the norm historically in YouTube and Instagram? Absolutely. That's part of it, right? That's a big part of it. These taking each other down, or whether overtly or like slyly or trying to drag each other down. The fact that we're here positively sharing similar and different ways of accomplishing different means with respect for each other, like to me, that's the future. Like we're actually going to beat the hate. Yeah. I don't believe we are going to succumb to the negativity of social media. I think guys like you and I are actually going to win.
Yeah.
I think we're going to beat it, come out on top, and actually influence fitness to get over all that stuff. Influence people. So let's go over some of the manners because we've talked about this. We're not going on to, I don't see you on other people's pages trying to drag them down.
I actually have a 10,000 rule, and so far it's mostly held true, where people will come on and debate that have more followers, but I never see a troll or somebody that makes a rude statement about somebody else on their feed that has more than 10,000 followers. I've never once seen it.
Wow.
Because that type of person focuses more, this is my theory, on tearing other people down than building something for themselves. So I always look, whenever I get a troll statement, I always like to see if that golden rule has been broken yet. And to this, and I've gotten thousands of troll comments, not one of them had more than 10,000 followers.
Wow.
And they always reach their limit. And a lot of them have nice physiques, they're impressive. They should have more than 10,000 followers, but their content is focused, and their time and effort is focused more on going onto other people's pages and tearing them down rather than focus on what they believe in and putting that out there. And, there's very few critics that are famous. Think about it. Like, Siskel and Ebert, I got it, but this is not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Throughout history, there's only been a handful of critics that people actually remember, because nobody remembers the people that dedicate their life trying to tear people down, things down. It's easy to criticize things.
They remember the ones that they were trying to tear down.
They remember the ones that people try to tear down.
Like it's beyond belief, but like I was scrolling, like, how if you look into different algorithms, like if you start looking at basketball content, Instagram's going to be like feeding you a bunch of basketball content. And I was looking at different Michael Jordan content and stuff. I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I had no idea that the biggest thing, at least at the time, I was like scrolling basketball Instagram. The biggest thing was hate posts on Michael Jordan or LeBron James. I'm like,
it's crazy.
Wait, what? Like wait.
Yeah. Right
now, this was like 2023, top topic was hate posts on Michael Jordan.
That's crazy.
We're in 20, like we're over 20, like we're 20 years after he retired. 6 championships, all this stuff. And the number one topic was tearing down Michael Jordan.
Or even the people that tear down LeBron. I'm like, did he ever ask to be compared to Michael Jordan? Like, I don't, like LeBron sucks. I'm like, wait a minute. You can have an intelligent argument over whether or not he's better than Michael. And I don't think we believe he was. I don't think he ever really said he was. And is LeBron sucks? Like, I'm sorry, what?
And to chat with your friends about who you think is better versus actually dedicating hours of your life to try to make one of the greatest of all time be trash.
It's insane. Yeah. It's like, wow, what have you accomplished in this world?
Yeah. So
Or I love these dudes that like didn't even start on their high school team. Like, that quarterback sucks. I'm like, yeah, he could be the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL. I actually heard a great quote one time where there's a backup basketball player that went in and he was on the sidelines and a fan was like, you suck. And he turned to him and he's like, I'm closer to being Michael Jordan than you are to being me. I was like, it's so true. Like, it's just crazy. Like, how much energy are we going to send? Like, it's almost like we can feel better about ourselves if we make other people feel worse. It's like, instead of trying to lift ourselves up, we tear other people down to our level. And I know people know this, but it's like, come on now.
It's a short effort. And what I've seen from people like this that I've known in real life is they end up actually feeling worse and darker. Like, it backfires.
This goes into like this thing I have about competition. Now, people like competition, they think is good. It's like, wait a minute, it is under certain, but there's rules to competition, right? And I'm not talking about every competition has its own set of rules, but every competition does have a set of rules, healthy competition. And it has a scoring system where people know definitively who won, either by points scored or judges' rulings. It has a known start and stop time, and both parties know and agree to the competition. So unless your competition with somebody else doesn't meet those factors, it's unhealthy competition.
Yeah.
There's no start and stop time. When does it end? When does it start? Yeah. The person doesn't know they're competing with you. What's the scoring system? How are you going to win? You know, it's like it's unhealthy competition. And I feel like our lack of competition in healthy areas of our life, we're trying to fill that with some form of continual unhealthy competition.
Yep.
And a lot of it's on social media. People will go on there and make these comments, and for some reason they feel like they're competing with me. They'll say, I'd be stronger, I'm stronger than you. I'm like, we're not fucking competing. How fast is your 40? I'm like, I don't know if I'm fast or not. I don't care. Like, I'm not competing with you. Why are you competing with me? You know? And then people are like, oh, I look for other people for inspiration. I'm like, okay, that's a fine line between inspiration and unhealthy comparison, right?
Yep.
I don't know. That was a tangent.
Yeah, but no, this is important stuff. Like, what we're doing is, in my opinion, more important. We can care tremendously about our ability to coach other people, but then like how we still treat each other and stuff. This is actually like more important than who's right or wrong in what you were saying is not a legit competition.
Well, being a big part of a coach, right? It's not just what you know or even how you can convey the information. It's like the people you coach, especially if you coach kids, are looking at you for cues on how to be a man or a woman. Yeah. And if you're in there coaching them, talking shit about other people the entire time, that cues them to have a negative, frame. Like as a coach, part of our responsibility is when kids come to you and they're like, I'm not starting, and they start to make excuses or say, a lot of times they're parroting their parents that this because the coach doesn't like me or this isn't fair. Big part of our job as a coach is to say, hold on, while that may be true or untrue, you're focusing on the wrong things. So if we don't live that, if we are always complaining about other things or competition, you're not doing your job as a coach, really.
Yep. Yeah, when I look back, when I talk with friends, we think back on different coaches, no one's really talking about how smart the coach's X's and O's were, or whether they're not even really usually talking about the wins and losses. They're remembering back those coaches that had an impact on them being a better person, a stronger person.
Yeah.
And they're thinking back upset about those coaches that were like bad human beings. Mm-hmm. And that is such, so in the moment, it's sad but true for a lot of coaches. They can berate you. They can set a poor example themselves. Like they're telling you to do one thing, but then they're making every excuse in the books when they don't do well or not. Mm-hmm. Like they're telling you to be responsible, but then they're the ones making excuses. So that kind of stuff, like I just feel like we're a part of something important, because when you think about this idea of like, what if we found a loophole that we can just go back, chill back, not be on social media, still have our paycheck? Like it sounds good, but the world ain't right. So I think what we're doing is like more important than us. I think like by approaching this social media thing the right way, I just think it's something we got to do. Like I think it's a duty to be a part of.
People also, they don't realize too, like as coaches, we pride ourselves on the term coach. We feel like we've earned it. It's like our life calling. So when somebody calls us an influencer, it kind of hurts a little bit. And I understand it. I don't begrudge people. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, influencer, really? So at 20 years feeling like I earned the title of coach and now I'm degraded to influencer. But it is what it is. So it's like we're making that conscious decision because we feel like we're able to help people.
Heck yeah.
And I know for a fact you've helped millions of people. You know,
appreciate that.
It just not directly necessarily, but through influencing people like me to change our beliefs and how we communicate. And if influencing directly thousands of coaches that then influence others, like literally millions, if not tens of millions of people have been positively influenced by the things that you were willing to put out there on social media. Now you're known as knees over toes. Yeah. Let's get into some meat and potatoes. I think people, because they want to know what you're all about, that don't know everything about you, and the YouTube video will clear a lot of it up. But what, like, sum up knees over toes, like why people were against it, why people are like, why still some orthopedic surgeons are just so against it to this day. Yeah.
So, I mean, one of a number of natural movements that, because it puts more pressure on certain areas. So like, one example, there's probably a number of factors, but one example in the 1970s is like a university tested and found that when the knee goes over the toes, there's more pressure on the knee. So there wasn't like a long-term study done showing that pressure was bad, but the reaction was more pressure equals, okay, let's avoid it.
So, and they said pressure on the knee. Well, what part of the knee? You know, first of all, is it the patellar tendon? Is it the femoral head? Is it, what is it? The pressure on the knee, what does that even mean really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know at certain ranges of the motion, when I squat or lunge, if I stop at that joint angle, it hurts way more than if I just went all the way down for a lot of reasons. Longer moment arm, my glutes can't contribute as much. Yeah. The angle that I stop, it hurts more. I feel like there's more pressure on a certain part of my knee at that range of motion.
Yeah.
So like, what do they even mean necessarily?
Don't know. And then like, what does pressure mean? And then are we talking bad? Were they in pain or no? Yes, mechanically, like obviously the knee bends over, it's gonna have more pressure on it. Mm-hmm. And so that went into the textbooks. Like if you think about exercise science, that's an extremely new subject to be in schools. And schools are traditionally looked at as the authority on knowledge. So so exercise in the real world has been around way longer than exercise in academia. So at the same time that they're saying no knees over toes, Arnold Schwarzenegger and these guys were elevating their heels with 2x4s and squatting with their knees over their toes. And there are people in martial arts and stuff who are having incredible longevity, doing intentional knee over toe training just as part of, like it was natural for thousands of years.
Going back and looking at sculptures and paintings of people in deep lunge positions with their knees way past their toes, or people holding like 500 pounds over the head with like a little bit of valgus collapse maybe, and their knee way past their toes.
Yeah, knee over toe training goes back thousands of years. Knee over toe research in academia goes back only decades. And then even within a few decades, huge analysis of 162 different research papers and in 2013, and they concluded that, in their words, contrary to commonly voiced concern, deep squats do not contribute increased risks of injury to passive tissues. And they suggested like progressive overload with coaching, like they suggested doing it right, just like we would for any lift. And that was about it. The difference is the way that academia is set up. Those textbooks don't now just, a magic wand doesn't just change them. So there's students right now DMing me or texting me, hey, look, it's still in the textbook with a giant X saying never let your knee over your toes when squatting or lunging.
You know the thing I always tell people when they say that? I'm like, try going downstairs without letting your knee go past your toe. Just try to do it. Just try to go down a flight of stairs and not let your knee go past your toe.
Can't, but that's a great point, which is that, okay, so now you take the person who can't deep squat. Now how can we scale that back? Then you can get into some of these deeper lunge split squat positions. Now, what if we can't even get deep like that? Now let's scale it back to like almost regressing going down the stairs. So you're using, like I use the slant board and do step ups, like step down, You're going down, you're going up. So whether you call it a step down or a step up, but you're now controlling that ability of the knee to go over the toe, the ability to go downhill. And that's how I'll teach it now. If I have like a seminar or something of people who have been taught the traditional way, no knee over toes, I'll start on the slant board and say, look, if I was on a hill, I wanted to go downhill. My knee has to go over my toes. We could all agree, I don't want you to be in pain in that position, right? Like I want you to be able to hike and go downhill without your knee hurting. Mm-hmm. So what if we can take those abilities at levels that don't hurt as part of a well-rounded exercise program? And so it does seem to have squashed the hate a lot, that rather than like arguing why it happened, even acknowledging, look, I could have made that mistake if I was in the 70s and I saw, oh my gosh, I'm a professor who hasn't spent his whole life exercising, and I've just found that there's more pressure on the knee when it goes, it could have been done trying to help people. I don't know. I can't judge who did that. It could have been done out of the purest heart, trying to help people to not let their knee over their toe.
Also, the nature of exercise, either it's pressure or tension, the only way exercise works is by creating stress in the system. So why would that inherently be a bad thing? It's just like the whole anti-inflammatory icing thing. I could never understand that, because I'm like, if inflammation is a natural, I understand having to control excessive, especially systemic inflammation. Yeah. But if acute inflammation is part of the healing process, why does limiting inflammation, why is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Even if it makes you feel better temporarily. It might make you feel better temporarily to not put your knee way past your toe.
Yeah.
You know, but is that making us healthier in the long run?
Yeah, and you could take this with almost any, like you said, tension or pressure or ability. Like if we took like the act of sprinting, we could probably both agree is up toward the top of the pyramid in terms of the total benefits you get. Like we could say that's like one of the kings of exercise is the human body sprinting. Mm-hmm. Now, if we went to Target and just took everyone out of there and lined them up on a starting line and said there's $1 million at the end, go, the injury rate's going to be incredible.
It would be a very bad exercise selection for most people.
Right. But to then say that sprinting is bad, and that's kind of what happened.
That's a great analogy, man.
That's what happened in knee over toes. And it's understandable.
And to clarify, you're not advocating large ranges of motion with high loads and speed right away. You're advocating controlling each additional range of motion. Yep. With little to no pain and progressing into a large range of motion that you can tolerate with little to no pain.
Exactly. And then getting to levels of ability that equate with doing the things you want in life well, which you can even see, like you got to see how I moved today. Now, I could probably load more extremely a lot of those things I showed you. I've found levels that work well for me, and that keeps me really healthy. And I think that keeps me healthier than if I treated each exercise in my program as like a competition and went all out to the point. So
I was astounded today how quickly you were able to get into very deep knee flexion and hip flexion positions with little to absolutely no warm up with some weight with a kettlebell. So, I mean, that's a testament to how effective the training is, just because in day-to-day life, I see people at sub-max levels, butt loaded in extremely deep knee and hip flexion positions without even realizing it. And the ability for you to do that fluidly it's kind of spoke for itself, man, honestly. You know what I mean?
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I like doing some of the live stuff because someone could assume that I have to do crazy warm-ups and recovery, and I do nothing for recovery. I don't have anything against people doing the sauna, the ice bath. I think that all that stuff is really awesome. Mm-hmm. I intentionally take no supplements at all. Like if you invented the best joint supplement in the world, I should be the last guy to take it because I want to see what I can accomplish from these exercises I'm teaching. I do nothing for recovery. I don't take any supplements, but I really believe in this thing of finding and working at these levels that feel good.
It's really kind of the essential that movement is medicine, right? I mean, it's the living testament that movement is the medicine we need. You know, I take a lot of supplements. I'm not against supplements at all.
I'm not against them at all.
But absolutely great. Like if you eat a healthy diet and you move well, that's 99% of what most people need, unless you have some kind of disease.
Yeah. I've become a huge fan of like the basics because then it frees up a lot of my time and mental clarity to focus on my kids and stuff. So like for me, if I do the 80% basics really well, that gives me a better quality of life to then be the dad I want to be present, to be relaxed.
That's a big
stressed
test.
out.
And I've fallen short here a lot. Is my fitness enhancing my life or taking away from it? Am I too tired, too sore to go out and run with my kids? Do I am continually getting hurt? Even small injuries, that aren't massive. You don't need to go to the doctor, but a tweaked back, a strained hamstring is continuously affecting my life in a negative way. And I've had to check myself several times.
Yeah.
And like, man, if I'm too sore to go play catch with my kid, this is not fitness that's helping my life.
Yeah. But we're so trained for everything to be a competition that it's like, even with ourselves, it's like it takes, and that's where I feel like happiness, which someone could define it 1,000 ways, but just what I feel that word means for me, that's where I feel like not living by all these rules of what competition means and all these things and letting the social media get me down. But like you were saying, it's like, how's this affecting me in the real world and knowing what matters for me? And so, like I might never, like, what if I never set a PR the rest of my life on any exercise? I could live with that and be extremely happy. I found the levels that work for what I want in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people are pretty obsessed with numbers too, and like, how do you progress that? How do you live more and more and more? It's like, how much do you really want to live?
Yeah.
How much more valuable or fulfilling will your life be if you could squat 500 pounds compared to 300 pounds? Or if you can run a 7-minute mile versus a 3-minute mile? It's a very incredible accomplishment that you should be very proud if you do that. But how much of your life are you willing to sacrifice to get a number that you could be proud of that doesn't enhance? Because then it's not really fitness. Because fitness, by definition, is defined by your ability to physical fitness, by your ability to physically thrive in your environment. That's physical fitness. So if
say that again. I really like that definition.
There's a lot of different definitions, but fitness and outside of the exercise realm is just an organism's ability to thrive in its environment. Not just survive. Yeah. That's obviously part of it, but thrive, right? That means reproduce. In ours, it's live a good life, make money, and stay healthy, things like that, right? Fitness is your ability, physical fitness is your ability to physically thrive in your environment. If squatting 500 pounds doesn't help that, it's still admirable, but it's not physical fitness. Yeah. It's super fitness that's not helping you necessarily. Yeah. You can say maybe it's preparing me for some unexpected, infrequent, unlikely event, sure. But even then, how much better would I be able to respond to it if I need to add 30 pounds of muscle and eat another 1,000 calories a day and be sore all the time so I can't do other aspects of fitness that would help me too? To get a little bit stronger, like to fight off an intruder, would a 500-pound squat help you more than a 400 or 300-pound squat necessarily? Yeah. Probably not. Yeah. So even though it's admirable, like I haven't maxed out my squat in 10 years. I don't even know how much I can squat. I kind of cap it at 465 to 500 because I just don't really care. I think it's cool when people do, and I love watching people squat big weights. But for me, 500. So, I can do 500 pounds for 5 reps, and I'm like, that's probably around 600. I probably have a 600-pound squat if I ever tested it. I just don't really have a desire to test it. Yeah. And people hate on me for that. They hate on. I'm like, well, it's cool that you care. I don't care.
It's such a cool point to get to where your goals are your goals.
Yeah, it's like,
and for the person that their goal is to squat 500. You could help them do that if that was their goal.
And I have. Like, people that want a 500-pound bench or 400-pound bench. I'm like,
but the idea that your goals can't just be your goal, like that was part of the turning, without being able to explain that well, because number one, I don't do a lot of podcasts. Number two, it's usually just like explaining exercises and not talking as much deeper stuff like this. But I think that's a big factor for life. Like that your goals that you're really honestly able to look like.
I will say this much. Yeah. When somebody that's over the age of 30, because we tend to get injured more when we're 30, and we have to be more careful because we're slowly dying, right? When they come to me with a goal, my first thing is, how can I help you accomplish this goal without putting you at severe risk for something happening that will extremely affect the other aspects of your life that you're not telling me you care about now, because you don't realize how much you really care about it. Yeah. So if that's a bodybuilding competition, how am I going to get you as shredded as possible without ruining your relationship? Yep. Or without making you so obsessed over food that you develop some kind of obsession. I can't, the word escapes me.
I don't mean.
Or like, a bench press, a 50-year-old guy will say, I want to bench press 400 pounds. I'm like, okay, how am I going to get this guy to bench press 400 pounds without him tearing a biceps tendon? Yeah. Or I want to run a marathon. How are you going to run a marathon? How am I going to get this person to run a marathon without them completely ruining their joints, their knees, and their back? Yeah. Because they're not thinking about that, but I am. Yeah. And because that's not fitness, because they don't want to be fitter. They want to excel at one random thing.
Yeah, I think that's another way that maybe a negative of social media is this feeling that we have to be achieving some extreme.
Yeah, it's always like,
I ran from here to and there's pros and cons mixed with it, but it's it's a wild time with that, where I do see more people who feel like they have to have an extreme goal.
Or an optimal life.
At
It's all
the
about
risk
optimal
of
living.
then winding up depressed and with all kinds of physical problems. It's like,
I'll tell you, most people out there that achieve some fantastic. David Goggins is a traumatized individual. He's one of the most impressive human beings I've ever seen. So I'll give him his credit, and enormously. And he's of great value to the world.
yeah.
But he's a traumatized individual, and that drive, and he admitted, like, you can't hurt me. That book, the title, Can't Hurt Me, I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
That comes from trauma.
Yeah.
And he admits it in the book. Like, that's from trauma.
Yeah.
And it's like, most people out there that are extraordinarily fit, myself included, a lot of my fitness comes from, it's an outlet for trauma.
Yeah.
These are traumatized people, man. Like, and it's an outlet for them.
Yeah.
You know, and it serves a purpose. But should you be trying to emulate that? I don't know, man. You know?
But this is really helpful for you to be able to speak that way and say someone doesn't have to be, if you do some super impressive thing, not everyone has to do that.
No, man. I mean, I'll do this. I did this. It's a Zercher transverse plane step back lunge. People flooded stories with them doing that weight atrociously.
Yeah.
And it's not because they weren't strong enough to do it and if they'd practiced it, but it's like, man, this is a movement you've never done. And because you have a strong Zercher squat or back squat, you're going to try to do a movement you've never done with a lot of weight. And I'm like, why? I didn't do it to show off necessarily. And I just almost regret post. That's why I don't post that. Even every time I post that, I'll get 1 million views or whatever. And I post it probably twice a year because I'm like, man, every time I do it, a bunch of people are going to try to do this exercise with my weight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because it's some one random thing I'm good at, you know? Like,
Let's talk about some of the dad stuff more, because I think that's where it's really helped me mentally, because I can look at myself and go, okay, like, could I increase my vertical jump even more with even more obsession and maybe more loading and more extreme, like, versus I just patiently sat there with my daughter's favorite kitty cat song as she went around the trampoline. Like, we don't get credit for the boring, hours long patient. Like, being a good dad is not what you think it's going to be when you go into it. It's not just badass. Like, it's so patient and slow.
I encourage every dad, new dad, or maybe if you're not, to write down a list. What do you think it is to be a man? What attributes does a man, and women too, but we're talking about men here, right? What attributes does a man have? You know, and your list will reflect your version of manhood.
Yeah.
Is it to be tough, to be a good fighter, to be alpha, quote unquote, to be able to shoot a gun really well, change a flat tire? Those are good things. Yeah. But what is the essence of manhood? And like you said, the essence of fatherhood is patience.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the essence. Everybody I ever looked up to in life was a patient man. And every time I'm impatient, it's like a stab at my manhood. Because I'm like, no, a good father, a good man would be patient right now. And they'd be kind. Am I being patient? Am I being kind? Especially in my personal life.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say rude comments to people when they come at me in the Instagram, but if I know you and you're hurting.
And I've never seen you initiate.
No.
For the record. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Like, someone came up to you in person was a dick too. You can't blame someone for.
But I always ask, like, how would I be in person for my son though?
Yeah.
You know, if somebody said a rude thing to me or challenged me to a fight, would I show a lack of control in front of my son? Yeah. You know, and assault this person or get into it with them? Or would I have
I don't think you would.
Would I have the maturity to walk away from my pride for the sake of my son?
Yeah.
To remember what our priorities are in this life and that your son is always watching you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I think with like the social media that you think like if I was thinking I had to go do some extreme goal as part of my value, because oftentimes the stuff we do as dads, there's no one there to pat you on the back. And the ability to know for yourself, like, that's the most important metric. That's the most important thing. That was a big hurdle for me. Like, I don't know where I would be mentally with all the social media stuff if I hadn't, like, if I wasn't a dad. And so that's not to like make someone wrong who doesn't have kids, but I think it's important stuff for the dad out there. Give yourself some more credit for the things you do that you're not getting a pat on the back for.
Yeah. Because dads don't get a lot of pats on the back.
No.
You got to get used to that.
Yeah.
Also, and like, I'm a Christian, and it helped me become a better Christian because I think for the first time I could really understand somewhat of how God loved me by how I love my son. The first thing I truly loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
I mean, my son could say the worst things about me. He could do the most terrible things, and I would still love my son. Yeah. I might be disappointed. I might have to punish him, but the love would never go away.
Yeah.
And my son could go away and tell me he hated me for 1,000 years, or for 10 years. The minute he said he wanted to come back, I would welcome him with open arms.
Yeah.
He could do the worst things imaginable to me. The minute he said he wanted me to be his father again, I would say, yes, come back to me. Yeah. And that was the first time I really understood how God probably loved me.
Yeah.
You know? And I always remember, like, I tell my son, as much as I love you, it pales in comparison to how much God must love you.
Yeah, this is like there's a spiritual component to it.
There really is.
That I think if we try to lean into that, if we try to like credit ourselves, even if we're not getting the pats on the back, the views, the whatever, like if we lean into that, I think that can be a big way for someone to not worry about the social media stuff and like just feel really good about life. Every time I see, one of these bodybuilders that dies early, and then people say the meanest shit, it's like they gloat in it, but I'm just like, that dude's poor family. Like that, he probably had a wife and maybe a kid and some parents that loved him, and then whatever was in, because I love big muscles too. From the time I was a kid, I wanted really big muscles. I love bodybuilding, and I still do, man. It's never going to completely go away. You know what I mean? I still get, every time I look like I'm smaller, you know what I mean? And if people say the steroid stuff, I'm like, you know what? Honestly, if steroids didn't have side effects and they weren't so expensive, I'd do a lot more of them. But I take the minimal amount of testosterone I can that I think will give me a positive benefit, because I'm not competing with you, and I'm not going to stay natural because I feel like I'm cheating if I don't. Because if I feel like it has a positive benefit, I'm going to do it. Yeah. The reason I don't take more, and I have in the past, is because of the negative side effects, and I am terrified that I'm going to end my life prematurely because I want to get bigger muscles and rob my son of a father. Yeah. But if they didn't have side effects, if there was no negative side effects from steroids, I would take a lot, and they were cheap, I'd take a lot more, buddy. If I just took more and more and they would only good things would happen, I'd take more and more, but they don't. They have severe side effects. And I found that out firsthand. But it's like when you get to a certain age, it's like, how much do you love yourself, and how much do you prioritize your trauma, or how much do you love other people in your life? Or like, if I take 1,000 milligrams of test a week and I have a horrible blood profile and die when I'm 50, like, what's my son going to do? Yeah. You know? Yeah. I was lucky enough to grow up in the basketball world where we don't even know about. I mean, yeah. When I was 14, I was 92 pounds. Like, I so overdid trying to train for basketball. Didn't know anything about strength training. Yeah. So for me to be like, I'm like about 190 now. So it's like my wife, like to my wife, I'm like huge. I'm jacked because I'm like, that's awesome. Like, cause we grew up together. You're also really strong for your body weight. Like, I saw you like pick up some 110s down there, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty good. I appreciate that. Like my wife and I, we grew up to it. So like, I think, I've never had to like even really be faced with, do I do tests or don't I do tests? My wife is happy. In her mind, I'm huge. And coming from like being so skinny growing up, that it's just like I'm really happy with it. Yeah. And I play against my basketball kids that I coach. I play once a week. Like I feel great on the basketball court. And so it's kind of a different world with basketball. Whereas in football and other sports, it is a much bigger issue. Well, that's the thing too, though. I don't care what the weight is. If at a certain weight, you just don't feel as good. You don't move as good. Yeah. And I don't care if you're shredded. Like, I don't feel as good at 250 as I did at 220. Yeah. Even when I'm ripped, I don't move as well. Yeah. I don't warm up as fast. It's like, there's a reason basketball players don't look like bodybuilders. Yeah. There's a reason football players really don't look like bodybuilders either. Yeah. People would even be surprised in football how many guys are natural. No, I probably shouldn't even be like speaking on it, but I grew up with so many guys that until you've been in high level sports, the genetics would blow your mind. Mm-hmm. Like dudes who can I remember a kid in I knew all my college teammates really well. Back-to-back years, there were different guys who could bench 3 plates. We're talking basketball, right? They were jacked. I lived with these guys. They didn't lift weights. People don't understand. Like, these guys did not have access. But if someone would have seen their body, everyone would say that they were juicing to the gills and stuff. Like, I lived with these guys. I remember
Like I promise you, Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett, I promise you they don't do steroids. And people will. I'm like,
don't post this.
They don't.
But
it doesn't help their athleticism either, man.
The point is, yes, do a lot of athletes enhance? Yes, but the point is just that people would be stunned. Like, go to some of these top high school programs. Like, I lived with a lot of these guys.
Do you think Derrick Henry did steroids in high school and in a little town in Alabama or wherever he was? Honestly, yeah. Do you think Ronnie Coleman did steroids? Have you seen Ronnie Coleman when he was in high school? How massive that dude was?
Yeah, Phil Heath was a college basketball player.
Yoked.
Yeah. And like, there's no way. What was it, like University of Denver? There's
a kid in my little podunk town in Missouri as a freshman, a running back, squatted 405 pounds, and he had never touched a weight in his life. It just happens,
when you
man.
see a basketball player bench 3 plates who doesn't work out, there's level. Like, do you know how much I would have to like put into trying to get to like?
Yeah.
I had trained for like so long to proudly like bench 225. Mm-hmm. And then to see someone who doesn't work out bench 315, there's levels to this genetically. But that's
a lot of, and I say this from personal knowledge, a lot of the pro athletes, when they make the decision to, against the rules, do anabolics, it's because they've gotten to a point in the career where like their contract is dependent on it and they're aging and their natural testosterone is low. Yeah. And it's illegal to even do TRT in the NFL. And they take enough to help them recover and train. Yeah. And if you want to call that cheating, it's definitely cheating because it's against the rules. But they're not on these massive steroid doses that bodybuilders take because it wouldn't benefit them. Yeah. It would hinder them.
And I can totally see how, just because I haven't done it, I can totally see how, and at different ages and for different people, how testosterone or whatever could make your life better. Like I
felt it when I got to 37. I felt a change. I wasn't recovering from my workouts. I couldn't get to sleep at night, and I was like, and it took me from like, what the hell? And finally, I got my test checked, and it was like low 300s, high 200s, and I'm like, and I don't know how that happened, and if I could have gotten it back up naturally, but I felt a difference when I got to a point in my age where I was like, oof, it's hard to recover now. Yeah, you know what I mean? And a lot of that, I think, of rough marriage, just had a kid, wasn't sleeping right. And I should have just waited, or tried different stuff. But yeah, it wasn't even because I wanted big muscles. It's just like, man, I just can't recover from my workouts anymore.
That's where I've seen people who are like happy with that decision is they were doing it for how they want to feel. Yeah. Not like I feel worse, but I look bigger. Like, so that like I could see it go either way. Like, are you doing it for how you're going to look or are you going to do how you're going to feel? And
then after I did it for a while, I got curious. And so I experimented with different doses and different levels, went through all the side effects, good and bad, and not massive levels either, but like more than TRT for sure. Yeah, and some orals and things like that. And it's like, and so I got to personally firsthand experience the side effects, like skin stuff, not feeling good heart wise, like shin pump, so I couldn't run distance anymore. And I was like, nope. Like, because it was good for me because it really taught me there's nothing out there that I can take that isn't going to have a negative side effect.
Interesting.
Even testosterone, even at a small dose, there are some negative side effects. Right?
Yeah. But it's like you're saying before you got into it, tough relationship, different stuff. No doubt for me, like the fact my wife is like so supportive. Yeah. Thinks I'm super handsome and all like she thinks better of me. She makes me more confident. That's
another thing too. Like people judge these dudes in the gym that are trying to get big and taking steroids, and they mock them and stuff. And it's like, you don't know what's going on in that person's life, man. Yeah. You don't know what kind of stuff they're dealing with. Just hold the judgment a little. We all got things we're trying to deal with or insecurities we're trying to cover up. You just don't know.
Yeah, prior to meeting my wife, my goals were different because it was more based on I was made fun of for being skinny and I need to prove them wrong, and then to have someone be like,
I think that's a key step in manhood too. Yeah. Is the need that you feel to prove yourself takes a back seat to the need that you feel to be there for the people that depend on you. Yeah, and I think children feel like they need to prove themselves, and then men, we get in this gray area. Right? Where we're trying to find ourselves and prove ourselves and make ourselves. We get to a certain point where we have enough confidence. We've already proven ourselves. Yeah. Now it's like my energy is focused more on being there for other people. Yeah. And it's sad because I see these men that, and I'm not being mean to them because I still struggle with it, that are still so focused on proving themselves. Yeah. And ages 40, 50, 60, it's like, man, you never really reach manhood. Yeah. Like, not truly, you know? And they feel like men, they're alphas. It's like, nah, man, because a man doesn't need to feel like he needs to prove himself every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. This kind of stuff would have helped me a lot, you know, going up. So that's why I don't like podcasting. I don't want to be a guru and tell people how to live, but I feel like together we put a lot of knowledge that this could help somebody's life.
Anything you want to leave people with first before I tell people to find you, like advice, like they're going to get a lot out of that YouTube video. You went into depth on specific things, but advice on how to train, what to prioritize in a couple minutes. If somebody said, hey man, I'm generally just not feeling good. I want to enhance my quality of life. Where do I start?
Yeah. I mean, we would probably approach it with a similar mindset, which is like, where's your weak points? Where's your stiff points? And then what aren't you good at? And can we get there on like a gradient scale? Like, can we ease you into it and start building up what you've been missing? And so you do a ton of that, helping people fill these gaps they've been missing. That's where my most value has been, is not saying like, I have this secret method that's better, but like I've become really good at helping people fill some of these gaps in mobility that maybe they've lost or that now hurt, and they want to figure out how to get that back. But the video we did, it's such a, so that to me, that would be like the mindset. I think that's how I can help somebody the most.
Yeah.
And then we really gave, I mean, we gave our all in that video. So the video is going to give people a gold mine that they can refer to with tons of actionable solutions. Then do I think you should get on one of our programs if you're not sure what to do? I don't care if someone does my stuff for a month and just like get a feel for something. And then like ultimately, I think it's cool for people to actually make their own programs. But if they need a break from that, or they want to like get started, even if it's for like a short period of time, I've seen that work really well. Worked really well for me, doing Charles Poliquin's programs and like getting a hang for it.
Yeah, so my ultimate goal too is just equipping people with the things they'll need to know to make their own programs.
I love that.
And because nothing I can give you will be as good as what you could make yourself one day, because you know your situation in every given moment and every given day better than I ever could.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's like our ultimates. We're taking someone not sure what to do. Let's give them something that's going to be a good program. And then the best is when they're actually like learning enough that they can then put it together themselves.
Where can people find you?
Knees Over Toes Guy. If you like to learn on Instagram, I've been trying to make these like swipes to kind of assemble it. I might try to make one out of what we did today. It's a lot to wade through, but might be able to make a good swipe post. Learn like that. Or on YouTube, you can just see it roll out. Even on like X, I try to like assemble threads to explain the data. So I'm trying to put it however they like to see it.
And then what's next for you, man? What's coming up? Anything?
What's next? Coaching kids. My kids are 3 and 4. Want to try to put together really fun.
That's when they really start to get fun, man.
Oh
3 and 4. Dude.
I would say, man, the parents I see in that 0, 1, 2 stage, it's intense, man.
It's cute and it's like, fun, but it's exhausting. But
it gets better and better and better. And like these moments, oh my God, like I get to, like I just finished a hard working summer for my kids, like watching them being like every day for like, you know, hardcore, no daycare, months straight, no nannies, no daycare, like hardcore, filming 5 to 8 a.m. before they wake up. Well, now I got the break on this trip, but let me tell you, to go home tomorrow morning, I'm so excited, and they're going to like run up to me. Like it gets awesome. Yeah. So
you're the hero, and they mean everything, man.
Yeah. So trying to put together good like PE systems that I wish existed for them. I would say that's my primary focus now.
Nice. I think that's incredibly valuable. We talked about physical education in this country. PE lacks education, you know, and educating our kids about the physical fitness in school should be paramount. Yeah.
And that's ultimately for any gym coach out there, for any parent out there, the video we did today, you can use it, but you're going to learn things that you could teach your kids as they grow up. That's going to be skills they can use for life. That was the intention. So
fantastic, man.
We hope you like it.
Man, it's an honor to get down and talk to you. Is everything I hope to be. And you know, safe travels. And this was great, dude.
Same. First of many.